Hello, hello. Welcome to Tech Ascent, the podcast where we dive into the trends, strategies, and success stories that are reshaping the tech landscape as we know it today. I'm your host, Oliver Clingain. I'm also the founder of Ascension, the premier biz development partner within tech. Today, we've got a great guest joining us, joined by Fady Ben Younes, one of the founding members of Topo. Fady, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Oliver. Very happy to be here. I'm very happy to chat with other people in this space, especially in the go-to-market space here.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here. I'm excited to chat as well. Would you mind telling the audience a little bit about yourself and what you guys do at Topo?
All right. So to get started, just a little bit about myself. So I've started my career to do nothing to do with go-to-market or sales. I started my career in management consulting. So basically, I was a I call it a PowerPoint technician. And then basically just came naturally. I joined a French unicorn here in the fintech space called Pigment, and basically doing different things from BDR, so starting doing calls, etc., to then an ECS role, so enterprise corporate sales. Within that, I helped with a team to open some new markets in South EMEA, and after which I joined Topo. I joined the founding team, and basically what we do here at Topo is we find that there is some gap in the market between very sophisticated tools, teams, RevOps, where you can create that go-to-market engine, and where you have a lot of companies that don't want to hire 10 people, 15 people to just manage tools and buy a bunch of tools. So what we did is we created a sophisticated go-to-market machine that businesses can put into place without having to spend so much time and investment in all of these tools and time to set up these tools.
Yeah, very cool. And from what I've seen so far, it's a very cool tool. But there's a lot of competition in this market as well. How are you guys going about breaking through that noise and positioning yourself within it?
100%. So basically, today, if you are a co-founder or you are even like a managing director of, let's say, a non-tech business, and you want to do more pipeline or better go-to-market, there's a bunch of noise. So one, you have all the go-to-market engineer trend, get some clay, get some go-to-market engineers in your team. They have the full AI SDRs. So I don't know if you've seen some ads on the subways, all of that. Yeah. And to be fair, when we started, we tried to talk with all the organizations, even not our client, meaning when we went to YC and SF to start Topo, we spoke with people we knew from Aircall, from Salesforce, from HubSpot, but also non-tech businesses. And so what we tried to build is an AI for execution. So basically, like email warm-up, all the infrastructure, but a human in loop. What I mean by a human in loop is we don't, like most SaaS companies, you buy a SaaS and you have an account manager, right? Where for us, I think when you are an AI agent, it's a different play than a SaaS and an agency. So the way we differentiate ourselves is we have a human in loop that are people that used to do outbound at companies like HubSpot. And the goal is not to do consulting. The goal is not to just manage the tool. The goal is when our customers ICP change, or they want to change some messaging, or they're launching a new product, and this happens a lot, they don't feel lonely just using a tool and it's not adapting to them. So we can make sure to tell them how we can leverage Topo better, how they can launch this market, but not from a strategy point of view, but more of telling them how they can execute that with Topo. Examples, we can tell them, by the way, if you're going after this market, you can look for the signals of this local, like people following this local player. And this help them go to that direction, basically.
Yeah, nice. And you obviously lead the go-to-market at this point in the business. You guys have done several things, fundraising being one of them. How has things shifted from when you've got the fundraising versus before?
Yeah, so basically I joined the company after YC. So the fundraising mostly happened at the YC stage. And now basically what I joined, to be fair, and this is everyone at Topo, our job here is to close deals, so to help that top line grow. So this is my everyday, and everyday of all the team, to be fair. Even the tech people, we try to come in calls so we know what the people want. This is like a famous YC phrase, build what people want, and basically that's what we're doing. But since I started, we've been working on this. We've been also working on our ICP. So Topo isn't for everyone. It makes sense. Some people are, and maybe, I don't know, they're very, very advanced and they have a team of RevOps of 10 people. That's not the right fit. And basically, we're not saying we don't want to have these discussions, but that's not where we make most value. So basically, we're working on these kind of things to know how we found that sweet spot of ours and make sure that value of human in the loop plus AI execution for pipeline makes most sense, basically. So it has been closing deals, it has been growing, it has been talking with now some partners of ours and all of that.
Nice, nice. And a gap we've seen and have heard from a lot of other AI companies right now is there's just a gap in prospect awareness, prospect education. Obviously, AI is thrown around willy-nilly, but that could really mean everything from ChatGPT, LLM to machine learning data analytics. So how are you going about educating prospects and what are you doing when you get these conversations?
To be fair, most of our conversations are about this, about I don't want to call it education, but it's more having that conversation. And we don't talk product, we don't talk features, we talk about education. And what I mean by this, we've seen the gap in the market is most companies don't have AI agents in place. So basically, they've seen all that world that is far apart. What's this? It's full automation, full AI, and they're skeptical of it, which makes sense because there's a lot of noise in that ball. And then you have some people inside that area, and what we call an overkill. They have like 20 tools, full AI, but the end goal is what to make of it. The goal is not to have 10 AI tools, right? So basically, our message in that gap, AI SDRs aren't magic. Our approach is AI SDR will not cold call prospects for you and give them AI phone calls. The way go-to-market works is not the most sophisticated messaging. That obviously helps, but it's targeting. This is the basics. This is the ABCs of go-to-market. It's targeting. If you're talking to the right person at the right time when they're looking for a product or something like in the market for your tool or your service, even if you say, hi, we do this, and they're buying, it makes more sense than if you make these super sophisticated message and find some information and, yeah, you love the New York Nets. I love it too. That kind of spammy AI, I think, has been hurting a lot of the space. And basically, we're trying to differentiate with something that AI is worth the time and investment to look for the right person, to look for the right signals, for creating basically the list of intents, to basically, like what a lot of tools do, make sure the mails are delivered and not go to spam. The execution part, the manual tasks, but the strategy, who you're going to go after, and which messaging to adapt and value prop to each, that's human. I think that's the discussion always has to stay there. So I don't think there is some magic AI SDRs. We're definitely not a magic ASDR, but I think what's missing most companies is one, the tool that can make it all without going to buy 10 tools and being an expert. And the other thing is tell them the ideas you can go after because you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know that you can find the ICP persona you're going after and contact them the day they start following your competitor. If you don't know this, you don't know what you're missing there, a kind of a piece. So our job is to tell them, this is the possibilities, and if you want to do that, that's something you can do with Topo, basically.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And you touched it there. Sometimes you get messages from what I assume would be an AI SDR. If they're essentially just reading my LinkedIn, summarizing it in an email, and it's like, for example, I know I went to Newcastle University. Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Like, just talk to my pain points. Talk to what I need to buy. Talk about the buyer's process rather than just turning it into a resume.
100%, 100%. And I receive this every day. Hi, I saw that France lost this game. What we do, it doesn't make sense. If you know something about me as a person, that does not mean I'm in the market for that tool. And you're just spamming me, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And what do you think is the biggest challenge right now Topo's facing, or even a trend you guys are trying to capitalize on the flip side?
For me, it's two things. is to navigate between all the noise in this space. So basically, when we started, and we still are considered as an AI SDR, because we did create an AI agent that replicates what top 1% of SDRs do in the world. However, when we started this, the noise in the space wasn't the same. Meaning today we have some players in the space that will just say, fire your humans, like normal AEs or SDRs don't go to vacation, AI SDRs don't, etc. What that made a lot of noise about the space. So people hear a lot about the term AI SDR and know the vertical more, but 90% of them not in a positive way. So for us, we're paying that price, to be fair, meaning a lot of people know us and our competitors as well, but when they come to us, most of them, they come with skepticism because they expect that Topo is also one of these AI SDRs that will sell them the magic, fire your SDRs, replace them, which we don't sell that. What we sell is, if you have SDRs, there is a reason for that. And what we can do with Topo, you can augment that. So basically, Topo will do more depth targeting, some very specific mails on LinkedIn, and your SDRs can still call the very hot signals. They can still call the top leads that you have. So for us, this is the number one challenge is before this noise happened, it used to be like, I heard about AI, I want to see what you have. And now it's like, I don't believe AI SDRs work and convince me otherwise. And basically it's fine. So we take our time to tell that like every tool, like every market, you have different players, you have different approaches, and this is ours.
Yeah, nice. And I think that's just something that comes with establishing yourself in the market. It's like, for example, my company typically gets thrown in with marketing agencies. A lot of people have been burned by marketing agencies in the past. And nowadays, people have tried AI tools that just haven't worked for them. So now they throw all AI tools in the same bucket. It's an uphill battle, but it's kind of the name of the game. Comes with especially new territory. So
Exactly. And I've seen, to be fair, this is something that I think specific to like the sales persona or the go-to-market persona, is that they either love something or hate something. There is rarely something in between. You either love clay or hate clay. You either love ASDRs or hate it. And I think there is some space in between where it's not clay that works best or does magic for you or it doesn't. It's if you want to spend that time to learn it, to use it, etc. And this applies for any tools. So I don't think there are bad tools and good tools, good ASDRs and bad ASDRs. It's, do you match the philosophy of that technology? Do you want to have that in place? Do you want to invest that time in place? Do you want to work with someone that can work on that? So for me, it's kind of that, and it's always tricky because in like go-to-market persona is quite different because most people have done a bunch of things in go-to-market versus like other spaces. Like before I used to sell to the finance persona, I didn't see people that either love or hate a financial planning tool, right? So for me, that's like the particularity of it.
yeah, for sure. And being in the AI space, you mentioned there's no good or bad necessarily AI SDRs, but with such a big influx of companies, it's obviously a booming trend. People are trying to hop on it. There are a lot of companies out there that are, I'll use a metaphor, that are essentially promising unicorns and delivering donkeys, so to say.
That's
How are
true.
you guys going about positioning Topo as just not another AI company, but something that's actually trying to make some noise in the market?
That is true. That's true. And for me, right, if the people we sell Topo to are co-founders, are CEOs, are CROs, head of sales, VP of marketing, right? If you are in that position, to be fair, and here, excuse me, French, we need to smell the bullshit, right? When you speak with Topo, you will never tell you Topo will bring you this number of meetings because we are not an agency. We are not an SDR we're going to recruit. What we do, we give you the execution machine. And we tell you the possibilities you can use it with. If you have a great PMF and you want to know it, it's fine. Then the expectations are that with Topo you can do more. But if you don't reach PMF, for example, and you're testing the market, that's fine. That's completely fine. But we can give you something that you can test your PMF, test different things, and go after. Maybe some will work greatly, some campaigns won't work greatly, etc. So for us, and this is something we try to be very vocal in. Our pricing is public. I think this is something important because a lot of ASDRs don't have that. And for me, that's not so fair, especially if you're selling to SMBs. because a lot of small businesses get squeezed because basically they will ask you what's your total ticket or average ticket size and basically match that. I'm not saying value-based selling doesn't work. All I'm saying is what you're selling is a SaaS or an agent, it's fair to do that. The second thing is, and we get asked this almost in every meeting, we don't promise number of meetings or pipeline or close deals. If you go to some of the websites of our competitors, they will throw in some numbers. For us, that number can be higher or lower, but it depends on your business, your brand, if you got the right things. And obviously, if it doesn't work, that's why you have human in the loop. That's why we meet every couple of weeks. And we tell you, by the way, look at these campaigns. I think this one hasn't been working because either messaging or targeting. Usually that comes down to these two. And this one is working. I think we should scale it and make 3 versions of it on 3 things. For us, that's how we differentiate, meaning when people come talking to us, they're usually talking to other competitors. Other competitors will probably give them something better to hear, more promises. You can book this number of meetings. Here is an ROI exercise, and they check that and they buy in. It's very easy to make an ROI exercise and a demo. What we try to tell them, this is the reality of go-to-market. Outbound does not work in 1 month or 2. You know it best, Oliver here. And basically, for it to work, you need to deliver the right message, find your ICP, define it well, reach out at the right time, the right message. Topo helps you do it. And if maybe you did a mistake on your targeting, that's fine. We meet every couple of weeks. That's your decision. We tell you maybe you should try this. So for us, that's our approach. Being humble and telling things how they are. AI is not magic. AI helps automate things that humans will take a lot of time to do, or they can do it all. Like, for example, some kind of data to treat that will require some engineering, etc. So for us, we're paying the price for this because some people will go to some of the competitors and like what they hear, and they will buy what they like to hear. But that's not on us. Basically, we would like to work with people that know, like, can smell the bullshit and know what's real, not real. So basically, for us, expectation management is very important. We don't lie about these kind of metrics. And that's why today we didn't make as much noise as some of the competitors, but also that's why we have the highest retention score in all of the AI SDR market. And for us, that's the importance there.
Yeah, and that's big time. And sometimes, like you said, it's essentially a tool to deliver, to execute. And if some people want to see it anything else, then that's on them.
Exactly. And for us, this is quite important. Is we try to select who we work with, because if you work in the get-go, you work with the wrong client and they have high expectations. That's uncomfortable for us and uncomfortable for them, and then they will leave. And if they leave, we lose money. We don't care about having that fancy ARR revenue if they leave after 6 months or 1 year. So basically, we only want to work with customers that Topo can work for them. For example, some industries, like if you're targeting the very SMB persona in constructing, we know that targeting is not our like strength, and we will say it beforehand before we just sell you that promise there.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And it's like if you're selling hammers, you don't promise that you're going to build the best house. You still need to have all the skills. You still got to know what you're doing. But it makes perfect sense. I like the approach.
Exactly. And here, just to add on this, Oliver, I think it's important for anyone in the space to consider co-founders, managers, directors, CROs. They are smart people. Maybe you can fool them once, and even that I think is not very easy to do. But if some of these AI SDRs fool them once, then they will not stay. And the question is, are you an AI SDR in the market for 1 year, or are you playing the winner? And here at Topo, we're working to build a winner in this space, which means it's a relationship we're building with our clients.
Nice. And on that theme, Fady, looking forward, what's the goal for Topo at the minute? What's the mission, the vision? What's on the horizon?
For us, the mission is any company getting started to build their pipeline machine, how I call it, like they got to go-to-market machine to bring outbound, is that Topo will be the right player for them, whatever size they are at, without being something too complicated and neither something too small, too spammy, too volume. And for us, I think there is a market for ASDRs. I think that's something that will be here and that's something that will stay. And that's why we see Salesforce investing in sales agents and all of that. So I think we are in the early wave. There are some people going like this, we are running, hitting the wall running, etc. We're taking our steps. We know where we're going. And for us, in maybe 2 to 3 years' time, we hope to be the leader in that AI SDR part, which means AI automation for the full pipeline thing. From mails to LinkedIn, to enrichment, to signals, to LinkedIn, the full stack of pipeline building, basically.
Very cool. I like it. And it sounds like you guys have built a great foundation so far. So looking forward to seeing how you guys capitalize it on the future. But Fady, that is all I've got for you today. I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your insights about your background, what you're doing with Topo. But I'll be sure to tag your LinkedIn, Topo's website down in the description. But is there anywhere else people can find you on?
Yeah, LinkedIn will be the place. Basically, we work with sales persona, with co-founders. That's where we are. Really appreciate this, Oliver. I think this has been fantastic. I really like what you're building. So best of luck and keep doing this.
I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure, Fady. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.